think a question is also, and you brought it up in your Bradfield Hill paper, is causation necessary to spur policy change, right? And I think you gave an example of OSHA kept male workers from being sterilized by DBCP around 1977 based on 8 workers with reproductive damage in one factory, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was a really interesting comparison. And
well, thank you, Adam Finkel, for that one.
Yeah, yeah, and a good topic of discussion, right? Like, do we need the entire scientific community agreeing that there's a cause and effect, causation relationship between both, repetitive head injury and CTE,
or just every I think the quote from Brad Pill is just every I need to be dotted, every T need to be crossed before we start doing something with the evidence that we have. I know your opinion on it because I read the paper, right? But what do you think?
No, I agree with that completely. I would not want to take the science to another 50 years to get all the I's dotted before we make some really honest and compassionate rules and regulations around how our kids are.
But a lot of people in that camp are advocating. I'm not saying it's everybody, but I've heard that people want longitudinal studies, right? Mm-hmm. How long does a longitudinal study take? That would demonstrate, youth tackle ends up, leading to a CTE diagnosis. That's a long time.
Well, I would also ask, what would a longitudinal study tell us that we don't really know now, other than exact prevalence versus, bands of prevalence?
Yeah.
Dose response, maybe a little better.
But I mean, how much better does it need? Like, what action could we take if we understood dose response a little better?
Pulling kids if they're getting hit too much, limiting hits to a certain number.
But again, there won't be that. Could you limit cigarettes to a certain number? Right. I feel like part of it is like the horse is out of
an addictive substance. I mean, you could probably limit hits in a. I mean, they already have. When I grew up, and probably when you did, just a few years before I did, they had us going head to head. Almost every practice we would do a ritual called Night of the Long Knives, where...
Oh, I don't know that one.
I mean, it was basically everybody going at it full force in all the different drills,
right,
where you end up going head to head easily and oftentimes causing concussions. And one of them was the machine gun drill. We had everyone line up in a circle.
I know that
one guy. And a number
call a number,
out.
Blindside them.
Yeah. Oh, what a great drill that was.
Yeah, right?
Not if you were in the middle.
Well, I don't know. Depends on who you are.
That's how you proved you were a man. That's how I got elected captain of my team after a week of football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but they don't do that anymore.
Well, they don't do that where we are.
Right.
They still do it.
So that would be one thing. I mean, that if we were to make that, an effort and a mission, that'd be, I think, a completely reasonable thing. That's low-hanging fruit. I mean, that's something that can be prevented.
I agree 100%. Is there a minimum age at which we have this conversation about lowering exposure versus eliminating exposure?
Yeah, I mean, 12 is just a number, in my opinion. I mean, there's a continuum of maturation. So, I mean, you could biologically tag it to something else.
Driving, smoking, owning guns. Everyone has to make policy decisions based on age. So do you think 12 is? I mean,
I'm saying 12 is the one that's debated in the literature.
Yeah.
Because some of the studies use 12 as a cutoff. If you played before 12 versus after 12, were you at higher risk of cognitive symptoms later in life? So I don't know if 12 is the magic number or not.
I'm asking what you think the magic number is. Because there's no magic
risk
number. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess we what we try to push is this argument of you start hitting anyone in the head hundreds of times, you're opening the door to a season. You're opening up the door to CT. When is it fair to open up the risk of CT to a child?
Yeah.
Versus saying don't do Oklahoma drill, do different drills. Like take their CT risk from X% to half that. Like, is that still fair?
Yeah. I'd say high school. That's probably reasonable to start allowing them to have more drills, more exposure. But I don't know that. I would just be using my kind of personal opinion.
No, it's fine. It's only there is only personal opinion, and I think that's a very fair one, right?
Yeah.
So I agree with you that if we did a big educational push on, hey, let's get high school, like, here's how you limit half your hits, right? Like, if they would listen, but they don't believe that CT is caused by football in most
Mhm,
cases
mhm.
because that's what they're being told by the NCAA.
Mhm,
The NFL's not telling them that anymore, but they told them for long enough that they
Yeah.
it still lives there. So there
The question
isn't
is,
a
do you
will.
need the hits to get the 5
Oh.
kids over 10 years from your high school to the NFL? You know,
Oh, I think you and I both know. No,
Yeah,
like there's
right.
no correlation number of hits you take in success
right?
or age you start in success.
Right, right.
It's a,
So-
are you a freak athlete or not?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
That's
So
what
you,
takes
you think scouts, NFL scouts, college scouts would be able to, analyze a high school flag football player to.
Well, I'm not even saying high school. I'm saying go ahead and play tackle in high school. Our policy
Tackle?
is before high school play flag because no one's getting recruited off their 12-year-old
Right.
film,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt the football ecosystem to have no one play tackle till 12 or 14. It
Yeah.
doesn't at all. It just hurts the helmet companies and it hurts the youth coaches who think that this is their life and they think they're playing a positive role in those kids' lives, and at that time they are while they're with them. The question is, those coaches will be dead by the time they find out, did this harm those children?
Mhm.
Right.
And so then that's why we don't learn from it, and we have to learn from these autopsy studies.
Yeah.